Hey guys, I am here to get into Mirror, which is directed by Andrei Tarkovsky, released in the year 1975. And this is just an incredibly original, groundbreaking sort of moment in Tarkovsky display. He was just the press off of an intense original science fiction display with Solaris, and how he upgrades this a very down to earth and earthy poetic sort of piece of filmmaking. And it ultimately is just kind of reveals a person's just entire life scope as he's on his deathbed, and it's just kind of exactly the profound memories that's dawning on a man in his final moments, and it kind of has a way of eternally haunting and moving so deep into the subconscious that's all Andrei Tarkovsky is. He's about the most forward-thinking foundation of just having a youthful sense of imagination and wonder on life all throughout life, and he kind of just depicts it perfectly throughout his filmography. And in this case, it's just a very psychological depiction of Tarkovsky offering an ultimate sense of freedom in a person's face of mortality, and it has a completely dreamlike sort of atmosphere from start to finish, as they are beautifully romanticized memories as they organically unfold. It's a very experimental way of getting there. I guess it's a film that absolutely I think needs to be seen more than once. I've seen it once and I absolutely loved it. Then on a second viewing, it just feels like it's an absolutely perfect sort of depiction of just realizing that it's just not worth regretting any or having any sense of wallow about life's most precious moments. It's just kind of like an ultimate take it as it is kind of energy that moves all throughout this project. Looks at a lot of just beautiful, painful moments of life and observes it, and just a really poetic kind of perspective. Ultimately, it just kind of ties into Tarkovsky just portraying all kinds of symbolism that just is intended to get to the deepest roots of just wondrous memories and just a way of perspective from start to finish. This is just completely original and its lasting power. Like all these scenes just really kind of add up as just like, yeah, like it kind of is intended to just reflect just one's own deepest sense of subconscious wonder of memories. And Tarkovsky just hits those notes quite perfectly with this project. It's so mystifying that it's a lot to take. It's like Tarkovsky really is just one of the grandest of all time in how he displays all of this. And taking almost an anthology kind of way of perceiving all of this. It's just putting you in the moment, very loose kind of atmosphere, and just very down to earth laden scenery. It's just it feels like it's a bit of a probably very influential towards Terrence Malick, just displaying a larger than life kind of way. But this is ultimately just on a very gentle way of just observing memories in the purest display and awakening a person to just release any subconscious fear of doing so. In this sense, it's like Tarkovsky just really is doing it perfectly, and it's just the way that he understands depression and character in humanity so well. And he kind of it's like he kind of just like directly looks at a sense of wonder about that moment. He's like kind of like his filmography is like a walking force of that moment when a person realizes there's something to do about these downbeat sort of moods of depression, like as if he's just pointing a finger in such a beautiful way. It feels very influenced by, very influential, like in the same ways a lot like Stanley Kubrick is to me, and Terrence Malick, Hayao Miyazaki. It's just beautiful cinematography, just so many incredible scenes from start to finish, which just speaks to a level of transcendence in storytelling and speaks straight to the heart in a dramatic sense. It's just very original, very experimental, and very to the heart how Tarkovsky gets there. It kind of feels like it's kind of what the equivalent of what like, Tree of Life is in Terrence Malick's filmography. This kind of feels like it's that equivalent in Tarkovsky's, where it's just like a bit of a brain twist when you're watching it, because it's very like it seems abstract, but it's like an perfectly earthy way of looking at it, abstraction and spirituality, and as if it were just like I think like a much more like down to earth take on a lot of what Holy Mountain's exploring, I would say as well. I see a lot of that element kind of living here. This is like, it says Tarkovsky just found a perfectly humanistic way of getting to a lot of those foundations. Just the cinematography just has a really incredible extent of just beauty and elegance to it. That just reflects on just the best of just nature scenery, but just in the most earthy way that it's just easy to find this in reality kind of levels. That's the way that's the note that Tarkovsky communicates on so organically. And yeah, this is just strongly recommended from start to finish.